the public library. It was one of the few places my mother would let me go on my own. And I actually wrote poetry and short stories before I started writing songs. So, and I think it wasn't, I never had made this conscious decision, no, now I'm going to write.
Of others, I don't think I'm cool at all. I definitely didn't grow up thinking I was cool. I was popular, but not because I was cool. Probably because I had a certain amount of independence.
The company was strongly urging me to consider it, but I just, I feel like there's already so much to do, you know, just in going through life.
Ever wonder what happened to Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill? These two legends were on top of the world, ruling the music scene, and then poof, they were gone. Just like that, it felt like their careers hit a wall. But what if it wasn't just bad luck or needing a break? What if these powerhouse women saw something behind the scenes that made them step away? Could there be more to their disappearances than meets the eye? Let's break it down and take a closer look at what might have really happened. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Ever noticed how some of the biggest stars in music, like Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill, just disappeared from the spotlight? One minute they were on top of the world, and the next, poof, gone. It's almost like they saw something they weren't supposed to see, and Hollywood pressed the mute button on their careers. But what if it wasn't just bad luck or burnout? What if these powerful women knew too much about the darker side of the music biz and tried to speak up, only to be silenced?
Whose father's in the music business would come to some of my concerts and had seen me play at various places. He offered to help me make a demo tape. And the short story is that they did offer me a production deal, which then led to the record contract.
It seemed like overnight that Tracy Chapman went from singing on the streets of Harvard Square to winning 3 Grammy Awards in 1989. Her debut album sold more than 10 million copies. Critics have called her one of the most socially relevant songwriters of our time after a couple of years of laying low.
Now, Lauryn Hill's journey was a bit different, but just as impressive. She started with the Fugees, making waves with their unique sound. But it wasn't until she went solo that things really took off. Her album, The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, wasn't just an album, it was a game changer. It dropped like a thunderstorm, and suddenly everyone was buzzing about this powerhouse woman who could sing, rap, and write with a depth no one had heard before.
It was like a complete blessing that there were people, not only in New York, Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, New Jersey, who appreciated our music, but people out here in Amsterdam, you know, people in New Zealand, and Australia, and Africa were buying records.
These women were on top of the world. Tracy Chapman with her Fast Car and Lauryn Hill with Doo Wop, That Thing. Both songs became huge hits, making their creators legends in the music world. Tracy's soulful voice and Lauryn's ability to sing and rap with such passion had fans everywhere hooked. They were breaking records and taking the world by storm. But here's the thing. Behind all that fame, something wasn't quite right. The music industry isn't always kind to strong Black women who speak their minds. Trust me, what's coming next will leave you shook. You probably thought Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill were just enjoying the spotlight, right? Well, think again. Behind all that fame, they were dealing with the dark side of the industry. From constant pressure to change who they were, to rumors flying left and right, to shady people pulling strings behind the scenes, they faced it all. But through every challenge, they kept pushing forward. So let's dive into what really happened and how they managed to survive the chaos. Things really started to get messy when Tracy and Lauryn began asking questions. They started hearing some pretty ugly rumors about what was really going on behind the scenes in the industry, stuff that would make your skin crawl. But of course, they didn't back down. They kept pushing for answers, and that's when the trouble started. The big shots in the music world didn't like it one bit. Suddenly, the same people who once adored them were turning their backs. Tracy began to see the truth. The industry had no clue how to handle a strong, outspoken Black woman who wasn't afraid to call things out. It was clear, asking tough questions made them a target. Tracy and Lauryn were never the type to fit into the industry's little boxes, especially when it came to R&B. Tracy even spoke out, saying, I think they do a disservice to their audience by only presenting certain types of music. That's real talk, right? She went on to say, I don't think the whole folk singer label fits me either. They kept trying to tie me to those 60s and 70s folk singers. I like some of that music, but that's not who I am. Things got real messy for Lauryn. Word on the street was that Columbia Records had dropped a massive $2.5 million on her sophomore album, but everything just started falling apart. Lauryn kept pushing back studio sessions and people were losing patience fast. Soon, collaborators were backing out one by one, and it felt like the whole project was slipping away. Then suddenly, radio silence. Their phones stopped ringing, and all those big-shot music execs who used to be all over them were now ghosting them like a bad Tinder date. But that was just the beginning. Tracy's new album got delayed, Lauryn's big comeback tour was canceled, and don't even get me started on the creative differences excuse. It was like the whole industry decided to play dirty, and poor Tracy and Lauryn got caught right in the middle of it. And then there's Tracy. This queen went from selling out shows to disappearing from the public eye. Her last big performance was back in 2009. 15 years of silence, y'all. It was like the industry hit mute on her career, and no one could figure out why. But to understand the whole mess, we have to rewind a bit and look at Lauryn's past. The drama with the Fugees? That's where it all started. Lauryn and Wyclef Jean had a seriously complicated relationship. It wasn't just about the music. There was love, jealousy, and a whole lot of behind-the-scenes chaos. All that drama? It's the key to understanding everything that went down after. Stick with me, because this story's about to get even crazier. Lauryn and Wyclef weren't just bandmates. They had this wild, on-again, off-again relationship that was messier than a toddler with finger paint. And the biggest shock? Wyclef was married the whole time. Can you imagine the drama that caused behind the scenes? It was like a soap opera, but with platinum records on the line. Wyclef himself admitted, "A lot of people blame me for what happened to Lauryn and why she's not around in the music scene anymore. If you're still with me, you've got to understand. Lauryn and I had a very complicated relationship. I take my part in the pain and confusion. My marriage definitely hurt her. But the fact that she walked away from music? It's not as simple as it looks." But it wasn't just about the love triangle. There were power struggles within the Fugees, too. People started speculating that everyone wanted to be the star and no one wanted to play second fiddle. Lauryn was rising fast, and that didn't sit well with the others. Jealousy can destroy anything, and when it's mixed with fame and competition, it's a recipe for disaster. The Fugees didn't last long after all that drama. Wyclef talked about how there was this love triangle between him, his wife, and Lauryn. And to make things even messier, Lauryn got pregnant. Did you know all this was going on? Honestly, it felt like something straight out of a soap opera, but it was real, and it hurt. After the breakup, Wyclef and Pras went their separate ways, but neither of them treated Lauryn right. Wyclef was off doing his solo thing, but he wasn't showing Lauryn's music the same love she'd shown his. And Pras? Well, he wasn't really supporting Lauryn either. All this betrayal and heartbreak set the stage for Lauryn's big fall from grace. The music industry that once loved her seemed to turn its back. No wonder everything started to crumble. Lauryn Hill didn't hold back when she talked about her time with the Fugees. She called it a conspiracy to control, manipulate, and encourage dependence. That's some serious stuff that really makes you wonder what was going on behind the scenes. Lauryn eventually left the group, saying it was toxic, like they were trying to keep everyone stuck and under their control. But the drama didn't end there. Just last year, in 2023, Pras hit Lauryn with a lawsuit, accusing her of fraud and trying to take too much money from their reunion tour. Lauryn shot back, calling it all lies. But this shows just how deep the bad blood runs. What happened between them that led to this level of bitterness? It's the ultimate story of love, betrayal, and the messiness of the music industry. Now, if you think Lauryn's story is rough, wait until you hear about Tracy Chapman. While Lauryn was tangled up in Fugee drama, Tracy was fighting her own battles. The music industry bigwigs were trying to change her image, trying to turn her into something she wasn't. But Tracy wasn't having it. she straight up told them she wasn't going to play their game. Tracy was all about staying true to who she was, no matter what. And that, my friends, is a whole other level of strength. Being in the public eye has always been uncomfortable for Tracy. And honestly, it still is. But the best part? She's never let that change who she is. She wasn't about to alter herself just to sell more records. Now that's a level of integrity we don't see much anymore, right? You can tell Tracy isn't someone who enjoys the spotlight outside of her music. She's not chasing fame. If you ever see her name in the tabloids, she jokes it's probably a doppelganger. Being a private person, all the attention was stressful for her. But standing up for herself? That came with a price. Tracy refused to play the celebrity game, and the industry wasn't happy about it. She kept making music her way, dropping Crossroads, her second album. But it didn't get the same massive reaction as her first. The industry started whispering, wondering if Tracy had lost her magic. But we know better, don't we? Tracy's talent was never the problem. She just wasn't willing to play by their rules, and that's what made her stand out. Tracy's second and third albums didn't get the same love as her first one, and some people started questioning if she'd lost her magic. But Tracy wasn't worried about the hype, she just felt it was time for something new. So with Matters of the Heart, she took a risk and went for an alternative rock sound. The problem? A lot of her fans didn't vibe with it, and the charts weren't kind either. But here's the real question. Was it about the music, or was the industry trying to teach her a lesson for not playing by their rules? Every time Tracy tried to drop new music, it felt like there were these mysterious roadblocks. Albums delayed, tours canceled, and the whole thing started to feel like déjà vu. Just like what happened to Lauryn Hill. And those same industry big shots who used to be lining up to work with Tracy, suddenly, they couldn't find the time. It was like they all got the memo. Hands off Tracy Chapman. Tracy Chapman started doing fewer albums and smaller shows, becoming more of a rare figure in the music world. In one of her few interviews, she opened up about how she understood that the music she was making didn't really fit the industry's formula, and they just weren't willing to make space for her. Can you believe she had to explain herself like that? She stuck to her guns, but at what cost? Was it worth it? And then there's Lauryn Hill. Remember when the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill dropped? That album was on fire, selling over 400,000 copies in its first week. People thought Lauryn was going to rule the music world forever. But just when it seemed like she couldn't go any higher, things got real messy, real quick. Lawsuits started flying, with people claiming Lauryn didn't credit them for their work on the album. Then came the rumors. People said she was having some kind of breakdown. In 2001, Lauryn Hill dropped her MTV Unplugged album, and let me tell you, it was wild. This wasn't just a regular album. This was Lauryn being completely raw and real, sharing everything she'd been going through. In the outro, she even called herself crazy and deranged, and emotionally unstable. People didn't know if she was being serious or if it was all part of some deep artistic statement. Either way, it got everyone talking. But here's where it gets even more mysterious. Lauryn started saying some really cryptic things about the music industry. It was almost like she was trying to tell us something huge, but couldn't come out and say it. She talked about the new songs on the album, saying, "These are brand new songs that very few people have heard. They're about what I've been going through and what I've learned. A lot of life lessons. Talking to people in my head too. It's all right though, just warming up a little bit." And then she teased a song called Misintentional. What does that even mean? Things got even more complicated for Lauryn Hill when this guy, Brother Anthony, came into her life. People started calling him a cult leader because he convinced Lauryn to cut ties with almost everyone, her management, her friends, even her family. It was like he pulled her out of the music world and into a kind of isolation. She spent hours with him, absorbing his teachings and pure scripture. Now, not everyone was on board with this. Lauryn's closest friends weren't exactly happy about her new spiritual guide, and they started to worry about what he was doing to her. But it didn't end there. When Lauryn did perform, it was always a mess. She was late, sometimes by hours. Fans would wait forever, and when she finally showed up, the performances were unpredictable. Some people started calling her a diva, saying she didn't care about her fans. Alright, let's be real. Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill might not be as visible as they used to be, but their influence, it's louder than ever. I know some of you might be thinking, they're old news, but trust me, their impact is still huge. And the tea? It's hot on how they're still changing the game today. You might think they've faded into the background, but their music is everywhere. New artists are picking up where Tracy and Lauryn left off, bringing that same fearless energy into the scene. It's like they passed the torch, and now a whole new generation of artists is lighting up the industry with that same power and authenticity. Music is so much more than just tunes. It has the power to inspire, motivate, and even teach. That's why Tracy and Lauryn's music still resonates with us today. It's not just about the songs, it's about what those songs stand for. And guess what? People can't get enough of it. It's like everyone suddenly remembered how incredible their tracks were. New fans are discovering them for the first time, and the old fans, they're falling in love with their music all over again. It's a full-on revival. Okay, hold up. When Lauryn Hill makes a move, it feels like the whole world stops. Right now, she's out here celebrating the 25th anniversary of the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill, and fans are losing their minds. Shows are selling out everywhere, even with all the drama about Lauryn being late. Honestly, that just makes her even more of a legend, right? Even when Lauryn Hill and Tracy Chapman aren't in the spotlight, their music is still out there, making a huge impact. Tracy's songs are being covered by artists like Sam Smith and Justin Bieber, showing that her music still connects with people from all walks of life. And Lauryn? Her lyrics are still making us think, still challenging the way things are, and still inspiring us to push for change. One thing's for sure. Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill have left a permanent mark on the music world, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. They taught us what it means to be true to yourself, to speak your mind, and to make music that really matters. And that message? It's still echoing today, loud and clear. We've all been on a wild ride through the darker side of fame, right? And when you look at icons like Tracy Chapman and Lauryn Hill, you realize these queens have seen things in the music industry that would make your head spin. But here's the thing, their stories aren't just from the past. They're a wake-up call. They remind us that behind all the shiny lights and fancy awards, Hollywood's got some seriously shady stuff happening. So what can we learn from all of this? Don't believe everything you see on those glamorous award shows. The music industry's got more secrets than your craziest group chat. If you found this interesting, don't go anywhere. Stick around for more behind-the-scenes tea, where we uncover the messy truth hiding in Hollywood's shadows.